Electric Dodge, die-hard fans take. What could possibly top the sensation you get when a muscle car raves? It is simply impossible to duplicate the exhilaration it brings, or is it? Muscle cars with loud gas engines have been a part of American culture for decades. Still, as the government tries to cut carbon emissions, automakers are replacing combustion engine cars with super-fast ones that run on rechargeable batteries. The Dodge brand owned by Stellantis has decided to shift with the changes by showing off the Charger Daytona SRT, a fully electric muscle concept car. So, how does it perform? Does it rave the same as its predecessors? And what do gas engine diehard fans think of it? Stay tuned to find out. Dodge Brothers Incorporated was founded in Detroit, Michigan by brothers John and Horace Dodge in July 1914. The brothers worked as early Ford Motor Company investors and engine manufacturers for several years before starting their own automotive business. All of the parts for Ford cars were made by the brothers except for the seats and tires. The Dodge brothers created the first mass-produced all-steel touring automobiles. In 1914, just 249 automobiles were produced, and Guy Ameel was the first to drive one. More than 45,000 Dodge automobiles had been produced and sold by 1915. This was the best first-year sales record for a new vehicle firm at the time, and in their first full year of production, they were America's third top-selling automaker. Purists relish debating what exactly qualifies as the first muscle car. If you like being right, pitch the 1949 Oldsmobile Rocket 88. Dodge was one of the first true masters. If the movie trilogy of The Fast and the Furious has taught you the value of family, the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the phrase muscle car is undoubtedly an early 1970s Charger. That indicates that the current Dodge lineup is extremely popular among those who have a profound love for gearhead culture. But the business must switch to electricity. According to the automotive industry, most new automobiles will soon be battery-powered. Dodge is aware that it cannot fall behind. It will make an effort to persuade a fanbase that enjoys the V8 engine's burble, supercharger's whine, and gasoline's pungent smell to switch to electricity. CEO Tim Kuniskis adds, "We can't suddenly wake up in 2024 and tell everyone, hey, we went electric." However, he adds, for the huge V8s, it's 1972 right now. When Americans were introduced to compact, fuel-efficient cars in 1973 due to an oil crisis, American automakers were unprepared. With automobiles that were less expensive to run, Japanese automakers like Honda and Toyota gained a foothold in the American market, and the Big Three have never fully regained their market dominance. According to Kuniskis, Dodge must be prepared for the upcoming significant market shift that's moving even more quickly. The next space race is here. Let's go there like Dodge, Kuniskis adds. Dodge's first rocket for the upcoming space race is loaded with cutting-edge innovations. The Charger Daytona concept has the classic muscle car appearance you would expect from a Dodge. Even yet, it required some new school thinking to get the classic muscle car design. Dodge cites 3 inventions as the reasons why a Dodge EV is unique, Kuniskis says. It's got to drive like a Dodge, sound like a Dodge, and look like a Dodge. The company's defense will possess a muscle car-like appearance, sound, and shifting. But not a drop of the explosive substance will be used. Currently, all they have is a concept car for the time being. But compared to other cars the business has created in recent years, Dodge definitely worked harder on this one. Within 2 years, we anticipate a close production version that closely adheres to the concept. The car is known as the Dodge Charger Daytona SRT concept. Dodge unveiled it to the general public, and it's here to persuade the brotherhood of muscle that lightning in the engine compartment is just as entertaining as fire. This is a pretty big deal for the muscle car. Yes, this is the American muscle car finally getting an electric motor. Has anyone recently looked at the weather in hell? We've heard that a cold spell is out of place. Back to the Daytona SRT though. It looks mean, doesn't it? It's a throwback to the old 2-door Chargers, and it has a big front wing to keep the classic muscle car's strong front end while making the car much more aerodynamic. It should help get at least one more quarter-mile run out of the battery. Other parts of the exterior are nods to the 1968 Charger, like the vertical lines on the front grille, and there are front and rear full-width light bars, 21-inch diamond-cut wheels, and Grays of Thunder paint. The lighted emblems, if you're wondering what they are three-pointed Fradzogs, which were previously used on Dodge muscle cars from 1962 through 1976, but have returned for the new electric era. We did say earlier that this Daytona SRT sounds like a Dodge, and it's true. That's because it has something called a Fradsonic chambered exhaust that makes a V8-like sound at 126 decibels. Dodge says that this makes the EV as loud as a 717 bph Charger SRT Hellcat with a supercharger. Since the concept incorporates four-wheel drive, an 800-volt Banshee electric motor, and a push-to-pass boost button, Dodge claims it will outperform the Hellcat in all critical performance criteria. We don't yet know how many technical details regarding the vehicle. Additionally, the name is not merely a coincidence. This new Charger Daytona is sure to be quick, as the first did in 1970, when it became the first vehicle to surpass 200 miles per hour on a NASCAR track. An erupt transmission that requires you to change gear at specific predetermined shift locations adds further fakery or driving engagement. Gear changes that may throw shoulders into seatbacks in true Dodge style are the end product. We know that electric muscle vehicles won't be boring, no matter how clever or ridiculous they are. Based on what we know, they might even have nice interiors. The Daytona SRT concept turns everything toward the driver and has a 16-inch curved digital dial display and a 12.3-inch screen for entertainment. How very up-to-date. There is also exposed carbon fiber and a parametric texture that looks like the details on the front grille and runs along the doors and dash. This muscle car is very useful because it has a fancy panoramic glass roof and a big hatch that opens in the back. The lightweight racing seats in the back fold all the way flat, giving you more space for storage than any other Dodge muscle car. So the question is, will it work? Dodge may be more difficult to sell than any other car brand. The company has made its owners feel like a brotherhood and brought them together with an image of a rebel. It's not easy to get a group of rebels excited about joining a wave of change happening all over the world. Here is what the fanbase thinks about the Charger Daytona concept. Marquez Brownlee at MKBHD, a first look at the new electric Dodge Charger Daytona SRT. So many thoughts. Number 1. Do muscle car people actually like this fake sound? I need to hear it in person. Number 2. This will now be competing for the first Google search result for electric charger, which is hilarious. Clean 88 GT. Here we go. If you thought the EV HP wars were crazy already, you ain't seen nothing till the big three start fighting each other with their pony muscle cars. Challengers, Camaros, and Mustangs, oh my. Mont 6961. Fradzog logo for an EV is very fitting. It closely resembles the Delta symbol for a BLDC motor. I'm interested to see what Dodge brings to the EV game. They try to be different, throw back to their 90s advertising, and play by their own rules. As others have said, EVs lack soul and character. They seem a bit sterile. Dodge won't have that. If they do, they'll fail. Before we continue, please give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification bell if you want to see more helpful reviews from your favorite car review channel that guarantees honest reviews from close up. It seems like the fanbase is divided. Some are really excited about the EV version of a muscle car, and some don't like the new noise it makes. The Charger Daytona concept will have to try to convince them that EVs are strong. Dodge is about muscle, attitude, and performance, and the brand carries that chip on its shoulder into the electric car segment, he says. The Charger Daytona isn't for sale. It's not the car that will bring Dodge into the future, but it looks close enough to production ready that we think that car, which looks a lot like this one, will be on the road very soon. According to CEO Tim Kunikis, Dodge will stop making the legendary gas-powered Charger and Challenger in 2023. According to Dodge, the electric Charger Daytona SRT concept car was introduced by the manufacturer as a preview of the 2024 production model. So folks, what do we think of Dodge's attempt? Would a production all-electric Charger Daytona SRT be able to get muscle car fans to give up their V8s? Please let us know in the comments. So, we've reached the end of our video. Thanks a lot for watching, and keep an eye out for more. Check out the videos that are being shown on your screen. Peace, I'm out until the next video.